Welcome back to 843 TV. We are now joined by Dr. Eric Montie, who is Assistant Professor of Biology in the Department of Natural Sciences for the University of South Carolina-Beaufort. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
So can you tell us a little bit about your background and how long you've been at USCB?
Sure. So I started at USCB as an assistant professor in 2011.
Okay.
And I was hired on through what you call an NIH Embry grant. And that grant was largely to bring research infrastructure to USCB and sort of provide some funding to get my research program going.
Okay.
And so now we have a strong program in marine sensory and neurobiology.
Right, and we were talking a little bit before about your background and how you've have some experience in a variety of different areas. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I can, no problem. So I started my undergraduate degree at University of Rhode Island a long time ago, and I took a course with the School for Field Studies during the summer of my junior year, and it was really an incredible experience. It was called the Ecology of Killer Whales in northern Vancouver in British Columbia, and it was really an amazing field experience, and to this day is probably one of the best field experiences I've ever had. It really started me on the track of marine mammal biology and just being a scientist in general. Mm-hmm. From there, I went and got my master's degree in environmental toxicology at Clemson University, and then I worked for NOAA as a marine mammal biologist in Charleston, South Carolina. We did a variety of different things, but one of our biggest focuses was understanding dolphin abundance, distribution, and residency in the low country.
Okay.
And decided to become my own boss and wanted to go get my doctorate degree. And I worked at Woods Hole Oceanographic Institution on my PhD. And my doctorate really focused on how environmental pollutants accumulate in marine mammals and how they might actually affect how their brain develops.
Yeah.
And got very interested in hearing.
Yes.
And how these pollutants might affect how the hearing develops. Because in a lot of studies with rats, they've shown that these pollutants can affect how hearing actually develops.
Right.
And that led me to wanting to get more experience in bioacoustics, which is really the study of hearing and acoustic communication of animals. And I went on to University of South Florida, got my degree, did a postdoc in bioacoustics, and from there, my interest became understanding acoustic communication of marine organisms.
Very cool.
Sure.
So we're right here, we've got the Chechessie River behind us,
Yes,
right?
yeah.
And that leads out into the Port Royal Sound,
Yes.
which then leads out to the ocean.
Yes.
Can you share with us, your experience, which is lengthy, what's unique about, the Port Royal Sound and the waters around the low country?
Yeah. Well, I'd say probably what is really unique is that they have such an abundance of life. Okay. They have high primary, secondary productivity, which draws in a lot of marine predators like bottlenose dolphins and sharks.
Yep.
They have just high sediment load, primary, secondary productivity, which actually leads to a lot more dissolved material in the water column, and so the water looks very murky.
Yeah.
But it's not polluted.
Okay.
It's just very productive.
And that's why it's a little bit murky and harder to see through.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's very productive, especially in the summertime.
Okay.
All right, and that draws in a lot of life.
Yeah.
And from my perspective, what's very unique is that a lot of these marine organisms, because it's so murky, they actually have to rely on acoustic communication rather than vision and olfaction to communicate.
Right.
So this is actually quite a paradise for somebody who wants to study marine bioacoustics.
Right. And we were talking a little bit earlier again about how you're going to do that, right? You've got some experiments, some recorders, underwater recorders.
Yeah, so right now we do most of our work in the May River in Bluffton. And we have this really cool technology that allows us to record the underwater sound for months at a time, almost continuously. So you can understand from that exactly to the day when different spawning seasons of fish actually start and end.
Wow.
Because part of their courtship cycle relies on acoustic communication, just like frogs. You know, male frogs send out sounds to draw in females.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of species do the same thing that fish. Really, the species of what we call cyanids or drums. And those are spotted sea trout, red drum, black drum, silver perch, weakfish. All these fish live in these rivers and live in Port Royal Sound, and that form these huge aggregations, spawning aggregations, and that really supplies a lot of productivity for larger predators.
Right, yeah. Brings them the party together.
Brings in the party, exactly.
So we're almost out of time, but can you tell us a little bit about how you see your relationship with the Port Royal Sound Foundation and the Maritime Center growing?
Sure. So one of the things that we like I said, we've been doing most of our work in the May River, but we would really like to move into Port Royal Sound.
Okay.
And we'd really want to get, like I said, one of our big interests is studying spawning aggregations of fish, and also understanding how large predators use these aggregations as a food source.
Right.
But the thing about here is, we really don't have a good idea of where these spawning aggregations occur.
Right.
And because it's so challenging to see, we can actually use our acoustic techniques to find these aggregations. And then working with folks like from DNR, Department of Natural Resources, and our work with bottlenose dolphins, our abundance surveys, we can try to see if these predators are drawn to those aggregations.
Yeah.
So that's where we see our relationship with Port Royal Sound evolving, and potentially they could supply some funds to do this work here.
Very cool. Well, thank you very much for joining us
Sure.
today and educating our viewers about your work here.
Sure.
And please stick around for another segment of 843 TV.